I hear the call of the stars.
G'day guys, Duckville here. We're going to have a look at a game from the Korean ladder. This is going to be on Slag Pits, which is a map that not too many people actually like. I actually hate it myself. I downvote this map just because it's not a particular map where my particular playstyle is actually favoured. But oh well, some people, I'm sure some people must like some of it. But I'm not actually sure which particular race, if any, this map favours, but today here we're going to actually see some very good players, some very high-level players, including my favourite Korean Protoss. But just firstly, up here we do have SlaveZenith. He's going to be up here in the blue, in the top side of Slag Pits. He's going to be the Zerg is probably going to look to fast expand on this map, I would assume. I'm not actually sure how Zergs like to play this map, but and down here, my favourite Korean Protoss. Let's get that quickly checked there, because of course my favourite probably Protoss of all is actually Huck. But we do have NEXSickness, who we've seen in a recent game that I put up, and also a couple of other games that he's been in, is a guy who loves to use cannons in interesting sorts of positions. Uses warp prisms a little bit, which is always a bit of fun to see those paper planes up in the air, and of course does some fun things with high-end units as well. So we'll see what he gets up to here today. He is scouting out. He's gone the wrong direction twice now, unfortunately for him, so he is going to scout Slave just a little bit later than he would probably like to, but what he is going to do is get inside and see that Slave is actually going for a gas pool expand, probably just a normal speedling sort of expand, I would assume. So we'll see. Probably just a standard sort of opening here from both of these players, and in fact we definitely will, because we've just got a gateway here from Sickness, so he's just going to get that up. A little bit of an interesting wall there, using the pylon to actually wall in. I'm going to assume that the cybernetics core will be over here, just to make a little bit of a safer wall off there, and he's probably just going to get everything normal from there on. The attempted extractor is going to go down there. No, it's not. He's going to get double gas, in fact. Double gas before the cyber. Quite an interesting little position there for Sickness. So he's going to have his cybernetics score just a tiny bit later here, and that's going to perhaps be a little bit to his advantage, perhaps getting a little bit more gas. Of course, the warp gate tech will come a bit later, and I'm assuming, did he actually get to see that? I don't think. Yeah, he has seen it. He has seen it now. Slave has now seen that there are the two gas the assimilators done there, but of course he will know that this means that there will probably be no 4 gates or sort of early sorts of 4-gate pressure, or any gate pressure, I suppose, of any kind, because of course that means that with this warp tech being quite late, it means that Sickness won't be able to put too much pressure on. The one last probe just hanging out here for Sickness. He's going to try and get a little bit of a scout off, probably going to cancel this pylon. Don't want to lose that if possible. There it is. He does get rid of that in the last possible moments there, and now he's going to run away with this probe. He is supply block for the moment, which is a little bit interesting for him. He's only just recently started that pylon, so he's going to be a little bit behind here. He does have a bit of chrono built up as well. There are now 2 chronos in there. He is pumping that away on the cybernetic score, trying to catch up with that warp gate text. We mentioned it was a little bit late here, and have a look at this. We've actually got what looks to be, he may be getting the start of a wall off here. Now this is part of the reason why I don't actually like this map, is because you've got this natural that has these 2 massive entrances, and then even once you actually get inside, it's incredibly huge, the natural itself, all of that space there, and then you do have that that backdoor rocks that can be destroyed to get inside as well, opening up a 3rd attack bar. So that's mostly why I don't actually like this particular map, but perhaps Sickness can show me something that'll actually favour it in my eyes, but just for the moment we'll see what he's going to do. Probably going to be some sort of wall, but Slave meanwhile pumping away at the drones. He's currently sitting at 24 drones there, and he's actually even at the moment with Sickness, who's got his own 24 pros, but Slave has now taken this expansion here. He's going to get this one up and go just for that standard sort of play there. As we mentioned, you do get just the standard sorts of things on this map, and we can see actually this little Ling here just running around. He's not sure where he's going, just patrolling here, making sure that no probes get through to do any scouting. Of course, this would probably be where a Protoss would love to get inside and actually scout out what's happening, but what he is doing for the time being is putting down a robo here as part of this wall. A little bit interesting to have the robo at the front. Of course, it does give you the advantage of having your robotics units a little bit closer to your enemies there, and of course being a really good wall-off. These of course do have 900 effective health in total, with the 450 shields and 450 health, and it'll give him a little bit of a wall off here. And in fact, wow, Sickness is actually going to go down here and probably look to wall this off as well. So don't be surprised if we see a forge and perhaps a gateway or something like that down there. He does have 3 gates inside his main base, so he is certainly prepared for any attacks that could occur. But he is looking to perhaps just wall off this section as well. I'm not sure if this is going to be a full wall off or not, but just keep in mind there are no cannons at the moment, so he actually, if there were a lot of lings produced by Slave, he's actually going to have very little way to actually stop them if the lings can get inside and put some surrounds down on these sentries. But there's the forge, so he's going to start that off. Do keep in mind the Nexus is up and running here for Sickness, or just about to be up and running, so he's going to have that secondary base just about ready. The probes are looking really good here for Sickness, so he's just humming away with those probes. In fact, transferring a whole bunch of them, a little bit too many, I think he decided in the end. A little bit too many probes transferred over. Of course, when you are transferring units, your workers across, you got to be careful not to remove every single one, because of course that's entirely pointless. But just got to be careful so that it's not too much, because you can actually ruin your economy if you do too many, or if you do too many and then pull them back, as we saw. That sort of thing can really hurt you when you're actually trying to do that. But as you can see here, Slave is actually getting his 3rd and 4th gas up. I don't actually, that's no, that's actually gas number 2 and 3 going up there for Slave, so he's not going to be going for anything too heavy in the muter department, I don't think. He is getting this 3rd base over here at the side. I think Sickness may actually spot this. He's sending an observer across, in fact, and he's going to actually see this one and then be able to decide what he's going to do from there. But Slave is just really just going hard at the economy for the time being. It doesn't look as if he's got anything in particular in mind. He is getting +1 to Carapace. That can signal a few things, so I'm not really going to call off on what that could be just yet. But some warp-ins now taking place along with the +1 to ground weapons here for Sickness. He's now moving out with a little bit of an attack force. Perhaps he's going to look to do a bit of pressure here. These Stalkers that have just come down to the side need to be a little bit careful. There are a lot of lings just up here. There's actually not too many, but if they get us around on these Stalkers, which these ones may actually do, he could be in a little bit of trouble with that Stalker. But now, backing up against the ramp, he is going to be able to poke away at those lings. The lings should still bust through these 2 Stalkers, but just a lot of hardiness in those particular Stalkers. And now, in fact, an attack at the front. This Immortal is going to be in grave danger there. The Immortal is going to need to run away if possible, but got surrounded by the lings. There's a lot of lings out here for Slave at the moment here. He's got even more coming in as well. As we look on the production tab, 20 in production at the moment, so he's going really hard on these lings for the time being. Some more just pumping in through the middle here, and they're going to be stopped there by that that big force that's there. +1 to armor is on the way. These 2 Zealots just camping out here in the little walkways to the natural expansion, so they're not going to be able to they're not going to let anything through. But beautiful force fields there from Sickness. Check that out. A full-on surround of his own units before the lings could get inside, just blocking off any possible attack path for those lings. And now these units will be easily able to come back and just retreat into that position there. He's not going to be in any trouble just for the time being, but just wondering what Slave is going to get up to here with all of these lings that are in production here. He does actually have a Baneling nest just coming along. We just see it here. It's about a 3rd done. He's going to have that in just a minute or 2, and then he may look to do some sort of drop. Once you get over this wall, there's really not too much defending the inner part of the Protoss base there, and Sickness is probably well aware of that. But he does have these Zealots just blocking off these lings. The lings are going to go to town on that robotics here. They're trying to get that down. They probably won't be able to. There's way too many units here, and in fact losing all of those lings there, which is not going to be the greatest position there for Slave. But just down here, Sickness has decided to take a 3rd base down here. This is actually the alternate main position here. He's got 2 cannons just fending off. I'm a bit surprised there's no full wall here, because in fact here we go, Slave coming through here with a bunch of lings. He's going to be able to get inside. I don't think this is going to last too long, because this Nexus in fact is going to last too long. But here comes some Zealots here along with some probes. They should be able to fend this off. The lings won't actually have too far to go if they're cornered here, and indeed they are. And the Stalkers coming along, they still don't have blink yet, so they will take a little bit of damage perhaps, but getting that all cleaned out nice and easily there. Now, keep in mind, drops are done, so these overlords are going to be able to drop some lings or anything there on top of the Zerg, on top of the Protoss base. In fact, here we go. We do have a drop coming through here from Slave. He's going to bring this into the main of Sickness, and there we go. The lings coming inside there. The probes have evacuated like it's a disaster movie from Hollywood or something like that. And the lings now inside. They're going to go to town on this Nexus here. Blink is attempting to get finished here. He is chrono boosting that away as he can, but it looks as if the lings may be able to stop it before it gets done. In fact, force fields there blocking off the Twilight counter before the lings can take care of it, and Blink does finish. And now the finishing reinforcements here coming in for Sickness. He's going to be able to take care of that, but another drop taking place here by Slave. He's going to come through into the main base here at the third. There are a couple of cannons here and some Stalkers, and that's about it to defend. There are way too many Banelings here, and Banelings coming inside, perhaps going to be able to take out these probes. They do take out some, exploding on that, and then another group of probes coming in from the side, and most of those probes do go down, and the lings are going to go to town on this Nexus, so this could be a second Nexus loss for Sickness, and there he goes. Does lose that one as well. Stalkers coming inside to try and take care of what they can. Baneling drops on top of all of those probes, and Sickness is now in quite a bit of a dismal position. He's going to need to get these expansions up and running again pretty quickly here. This main Nexus could go up again. There are still more minerals there to be mined, so there's certainly no reason not to make that one. What he does need to do is actually get them started. There's number one at that third base. He's still got this natural mining away quite nicely. Let's have a look at the probe count between these two. 32 probes here for Sickness against 62 drones in total for Slave. He's doing a fantastic job of macroing up here. He's got the lair. He's got, I'm assuming there should be infestors somewhere. No, he doesn't actually have them just yet. He is getting +2 to ground carapace as well, pumping away at all of those lings still. As we can see on the production tab, there are lings coming in from all sorts of positions here. He does have this third base up and running quite nicely. Just probably needs to get those gas down. There you go. Hello. And then he will be in a really good spot. Probably wants to take a fourth, I would assume. If he wants to take... Oh, there you go. Fair enough. All right. So he does look to take that fourth base while he's attacking here. This is a great signal of a really good player, is to attack while you're actually taking some bases. And it looks as if he's going to drop in here into the main here. He's going to drop in these are roaches this time. So these roaches will be able to tear through most of these buildings. Would not be surprised if he loses most of this stuff here. And it looks as if Sickness is going to try and come back and... get back inside, but Overlord's coming across. They do have Banelings inside them, and the Banelings are going to get, actually, they're not going to get anything done. The drops actually got spotted and got countered quite easily there by Sickness, and now trying to evacuate with these roaches. Very, very nice to see a player actually not just saying, you guys are going in and you're going to die, because it's a good play to actually just try and keep your units alive. You don't have to lose them, of course. The interesting byproduct of that is that he's actually supply blocked at the moment. He did lose some of those Overlords, of course, in the drops, and with keeping those units alive, he did actually keep his supply quite high. But back to what Slave is up to, he does have the infestation pit here with pathogen glands on the way. Probably going to build up a little bit of gas so he can get some infestors out shortly. And I think there was another drop here. I did miss that one. Sorry about that one, but there is another drop, in fact, inside the main. Slave is not done here. He's going to drop a few of them in here. Probably going to try and take out a little bit of the tech structure, but he's not going to be able to. These Stalkers do have two, he's got one armor and the 2 attack on these Stalkers, so they're going to be able to tear up these 4 roaches. I'm not really sure if that was actually worth it at all, but another drop now coming inside here from Slave. He's microing this one away, just coming in through here. He's got lings inside these ones. They're going to be able to do a little bit of damage perhaps, but there are only cannons here to defend, but the cannons should easily be able to take care of all of these roaches here, and Storm going down as well. Storm's being placed beautifully there for Sickness, and he takes care of most of those lings, and in fact these Overlords are actually going to die as well. Perhaps 1, 2, maybe 3, just the 2. So keeping those alive for the time being is a good little idea for Slave at the moment. He doesn't want to get too far down in the Overlord count again, as he was before, but the Great Aspire is on the way, so he could be looking to switch to some higher tech. The Infestors are out. They do have their pathogen glands, so they're ready to roll with some fungals. 7 Infestors out at the moment. Not too much else out at the moment, actually, now that we have a look for Slave. He's got these roaches in the Overlords, which are just flying back to base here now, but he is getting a lot of his saturation redone here. If we have a quick look at the Harvester tab, it's currently sitting at 84, which is probably where you really want to sit with your drones before you get too far into battle. And it looks as if Sickness is perhaps going to look to take the gold base here. He does have, of course, he's got this this third and now this fourth here as well. In fact, hello, we actually have some Void Rays on the way here. I'm not sure if he actually spotted the Greater Spire. No, he hasn't. He doesn't even know that there's a Spire at all, but he can certainly assume that that is coming there, and that is probably why he is teching up those Void Rays, chrono boosting them out, wants to get them up as soon as possible. You cannot fly around with just this sort of it's a very it's light in terms of stalkers, this gateway mix, and of course the few immortals that are there as well is very light on stalkers. So without a whole heap of stalkers, you're going to have a lot of trouble actually dealing with the broodlords once they come out, not to mention the infestors that are on the ground as well, and these whole these fleets of overlords that have units in them as well. I'm assuming that those are actually banelings in there. But sniping off some of these overlords, doing a good job. It doesn't actually put Slave in the red at all because there are a lot of overlords flying around. We've got a couple just placing some creep at random spots around the map, and that's actually one thing which Sickness is going to need to be careful of, is all the creep spread that's going on around the map here. Slave has done a great job of linking up all of his bases, but hold that thought, we do have a big, beautiful sentry wall there from the force field wall, sorry, from the sentries of Sickness. Beautiful job to actually stop that attack from coming through here. It does spot the attack will now push through the middle of the base. He's going to sweep across to the left-hand side, perhaps push in. No, he's not going to go too far in there, but now the Corruptors are here, and they are going to be ready to switch over into the Broodlords, I would assume, and that is going to put Sickness in a very tough position. But there are 5 Void Rays out. They don't have their upgrades just yet, I don't believe. There are +1 weapons is spinning up at the moment in the Cybernetics core, so he will be able to get those Void Rays into battle quite quickly, I would assume. And in fact, here they come. The Infestors are ready to roll, but feedback goes down, taking care of almost all of those Infestors, and that is going to be it for that attack for the moment. Here's some Storms going down, trying to take care of some of these Overlords that are going to drop some Banelings, but the Banelings are going to get through anyway. A couple of them did get inside, but another amazing force field wall there from Sickness, just actually blocking off every single unit from coming too far through that wasn't in an Overlord already. And there's great defense there from Sickness to actually just keep all of those units out. He is now getting there's his signature warp prism. We'll see what he's going to do with this. What he normally does is bring it into battle and actually just warp in units right on top of his enemy. So we'll see if that's the plan here. But the Void Rays now coming into battle. Another amazing force field wall there from Sickness. He's going to be able to do a little bit of damage to those roaches, but not too much. What he's doing now, though, is actually taking the main base back. Again, as we mentioned before, there's still a little bit of minerals left there, and also this gold. So we do have wow, that is a lot of broods here from Slave. He's got a total of 8 broodlords in the mix there. Storms going down all over these overlords, and they're going to be in quite a lot of trouble if they don't actually turn around. He's going to lose a lot of these, of course. It's not going to matter too much because he does have a whole heap of supply here. It's getting a little bit serious. Look at all these Hydras in the back here. The Broodlords left behind. I'm not really sure what they're doing all the way back there. Of course, once they get into battle, they will have a lot of trouble dealing with these Void Rays that are out here from Sickness, of course. But a little bit surprising that he sort of left them behind. But what he did do is get that Nexus to cancel that was at the gold expansion there. So he's done something really good with those Broodlords for the time being. What he really needs to do is either take care of this army and either smash through this one if he can, or perhaps take this gold, and if he can get that gold down and get that started, he'll be in a really nice spot. A little bit of irony here from Sickness with that loss to the main base. He's actually switched some of these probes of the natural actually up into the main there, which is quite interesting to see. You rarely see something like that, but it looks as if, wow, we have 33 Banelings. Is that 33? It's 36 Banelings in total. That is so many Banelings, to use a certain term from another famous caster. There are going to be a lot of Baneling drops on these forces of Sickness, but if we have a quick look, he still has Void Rays pumping out here. More gates are being warped in. He's going to have a lot of resupply potential here, especially if he gets this gold base up and running, and in fact is so adamant about getting his base up. He's going to put down 5 cannons just up here at the front. You've got a couple of pylons to defend as well. It looks as if he is going to try and push up here with this attack force, going to clear out some of this creep if possible. But here come the Overlords. They are on the march, and there goes some feedbacks, some Storms off to the side. The feedbacks do take care of a lot of those Infestors, and again, another fantastic wall of those units there, but too much is getting inside here. This could be big trouble here for Sickness after all those losses at the start. The Void Rays are now going to town on everything here. Storms all over the place, and now with all of those Hydras dead and no Corruptors in the sky, this is going to be really good for Sickness for this particular battle here. He's going to be able to get rid of all of these Broodlords. The Broodlord's getting absolutely smashed, and of course the Roach is sitting on the ground saying, I cannot help you, buddy, you're in big trouble. And now going for all of these Overlords, going to decimate the supply that he has, and in fact he's going to get inside and deal with this expansion, given that this is one of Slave's final mining bases here. If he can take care of this, gets rid of the infestation pit. Is that the second infestation pit? Yes, it is. Not really sure why that was there, but he does take care of a lot that is here. These Void Rays are now charged up. Do keep in mind they do have +1 to their weapons. They are going to be ripping through every single thing here. Corruptors coming across. I don't think there are enough Corruptors at all, especially considering the Void Rays are high powered there. Storm's going down to defend the gold base with the Templar actually sitting inside a Warp Prism there. A little bit surprising, but the Void Rays are going to have to retreat for the moment. There are a lot of Corruptors out now. They should be able to deal with these Void Rays since they are low in energy. Warp Prism coming across, a little bit daring there to see that guy just coming through. Storm's going down, and the Corruptors actually jump on top of the Void Rays, so the Storms are not going to be very effective at all. We'll see if this Warp Prism gets away. I'm usually thinking that a Warp Prism would die from just seeing those sorts of units, get them. That's how bad they are. But the Void Ray is actually doing a good job of fighting off these Corruptors here, and the Corruptors with some decent micro will stay alive, and the Templar will have to do a bit of storming to try and take care of all of that. But after all of that, we do have SlaveZenith. He's been brought down a notch, in fact a few notches, by Sickness. Now that Slave is currently sitting on this one base over here, he's trying to get this one up and running again, and it looks as if he will probably go for this gold. If he can get that out of the way, that debris out of the way, he will be able to take care of that. But now we have a mix of Void Rays and it looks to be mainly Stalkers for the moment. Probably some Templar will be thrown in the mix there as well. But there is that Warp Prism. The Hero Warp Prism still alive somehow. Templar's being warped in here just to make sure that he is protected at this base. He doesn't want to lose this gold base at all. Of course, if Sickness loses that, he'll be in big trouble. But the problem now for Slave is that if he loses either this base or doesn't get that gold base down in a very short time, he will be in trouble himself. And now with these, there it is. He's got this Warp Prism out, just putting down cannons and pylons and random sorts of things over here. Doesn't actually need the Warp Prism anymore. Probably could drop it in here with a few of the Templar. That'd be quite nice to see. But he's just going to be sort of holding up this position for the moment here. This is something which he does. If you have a look at one of the previous games I casted, we had Sickness versus Anonymous Pro Gamer. He actually did the same sort of thing, just putting some cannons in the middle of the map to make sure that there was no easy progression there. And in fact, Bailing Drop's going down here in the gold base, actually losing some of those probes to his own Storms. That is quite unfortunate there for Sickness. And now if we quickly have a look at the income tab, we actually have Sickness currently sitting at 60 probes to the 73 drones of Slave. But the problem for Slave is that pretty much all of these drones are just having a party over here at this this fourth base here. Without the gold up and running just yet, he's really not mining too much at all. As we have a look at the income tab, we currently have Slave sitting on a much grander 1,600 mineral income, around about 800 gas or so, to the sort of very measly 800 gas mineral income for Slave, and around about 600 gas. So he's really going to need to get that up and running here. I think we did have another drop at the gold and an attempted drop here inside the this base down here, the fourth base. But he does see, have a look at that, we've got carriers on the way, and in fact there is also a mothership on the way at the natural expansion, and there are carriers coming in from all over the joint. These guys are going to be arriving in a short time, and they will be changing the face of this game, I would assume. And now that have a look at that, we did eventually get a drop in here at this fourth base for Sickness. So Sickness is going to take out this hatchery here. Warp Prism goes down. The Corruptors spattered it at the Warp Prism, and then it died. And the Mothership comes in and decimates every single possible attack from the drops there. And now I would say this is probably going to be it for Slave. He's in a really tough position with these carriers now warping in here. These guys are coming into the battle. We've got Void Rays, Stalkers, Zealots, and of course the mighty Mothership just coming across the map. So this is going to be a lot of trouble for Slave if he does not pull something out of a hat. And in fact, I think his hat is quite empty, because whilst he does have a good amount of Lings just coming over here to save the gold, they're not going to be able to do too much against this this Sky Force that's just coming in. And have a look at that. Have a look at that. We have Templar warping in, all sorts of guys here from Aya just warping in, some of them switching into the Archons, and the Archons of course do have 3 3s. They've got 3 armor, 3 weapons. They will be doing 47 damage to biological. And pop quiz, what's the what are all of the Zerg units made of? In fact, even the buildings is biological, so they're going to be going down quick smart once this army moves into position. And here it comes, Void Rays coming through, and as soon as he sees the Void Rays and the Archons and the mothership cloaking everything, Slave has had enough and he GG's out of that game. Brilliant game there from both players. I love that harass at the start from Slave. He's moving around with a lot of Lings, even still got some of them at the end of the game here, and just getting drops, all sorts of drops all over the place. We had Roach drops in the main, we had Baneling drops at the expansions, and also Ling drops in random spots as well. But unfortunately, he just was not able to compete with that really powerful laser force that Sickness brought out later on in the game with all of these Void Rays and the Stalkers as well, and then that late switch, the carrier mothership tech. So brilliant little game there between these two guys. Hope you enjoyed that one, and we'll see you guys next time. Cheers.